lifetime in repeat.
Hey, what's going on guys, Dragon Dog here, and welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. In today's video, we're doing something very special. We're doing triple Leon in Bounty. Now, Leon is really strong in the meta right now, and I decided to team up with Jeff and EasyA to try and get triple Leon in Bounty, and we ended up getting it. Now, this is part 2 of the triple Leon video. Part 1 is on Jeff's channel, and you guys should all go check him out, that guy Jeff. I'll put his link in the description below. He's a really good content creator, he makes awesome videos. He's also an okay Brawl Stars player. Nah, I'm just joking. He's a really good Brawl Stars player. He ended up finishing 2nd global and he's been to number 1 before. So you guys should all go check him out. Now getting into the triple Leon gameplay. Leon is really good in all game modes. He's super strong by himself, but if you pair up 3 of them, he's just crazy OP. Now not many people know how to get triple brawler in a ranked game, but the way to do it is you should probably be above at least 500 trophies in order to do this, because the matchmaking will most likely pair you up together. So what we did is we all readied up at the exact same time, and we ended up getting into the same game. However, we didn't get this on our first attempt though. We had to play a few games by ourselves and with randoms. In fact, sometimes we got into the same game, but we were all on different teams and we had to fight each other. I was really surprised we ended up getting triple brawler because I thought with global release it'd be impossible to match up with each other and get triple brawler again. This, however, didn't happen immediately. It took us at least an hour and a half to get into the same game with each other. It was a lot of work trying to get into the same game, but in the end, I think it was all worth it. Now, once you get triple Leon, you don't want to press the exit button. If you press the exit button, you have to repeat the whole process over and try to random queue with each other to try get into the same game. This is such a hassle if someone presses exit, because then you'll be back to square one and you're going to have to try and random queue into the same lobby again. This is why after every game we push the play again button. 1 Leon is a hassle to deal with because you have to keep track of where he is, but 3 Leons is just insane because then you have to keep track of where all 3 of them are, as well as their supers. We went on a crazy win streak. In the 2.5 hours that we played, we won every single game except for 2. We were so annoying that we made a lot of top players switch their game modes because they couldn't deal with triple Leon. And the teams that did stay ended up running counter comps to us. Some of the people that we beat ended up taking a screenshot at the end screen of the triple Leon and posting it to Twitter and Reddit telling Supercell to fix their game. Now, although we ended up playing for over 2.5 hours, I was recording the first 2 hours, but then my recording software crashed and it didn't actually save the footage. So now I only have this last 30 minutes of gameplay to show you guys. One thing that I thought was really funny that we did was we would all get our supers and then we go into a bush and we go invisible. From there, we'd rotate all the way to the opponent's spawn, and they wouldn't know where we were, so they were at our spawn trying to find us while we were just camping their spawn for the whole entire game. Now, as the night went on, one comp that was really hard for us to face was a Rico, Crow, and a Piper in Bounty, because they were able to keep their range, and if the Crow kept us all poisoned, it was hard for us to go invisible. The way we ended up dealing with these types of comps is that as soon as at least 2 of us got supers, we would go into a bush and use it, and what we would do is we rotate around the opponents and try to pinch them so that they would have nowhere to go. If they went left, they'd run into a Leon, or if they went right, they would run into a Leon. This is really effective because they would have nowhere to go, and it's also really effective because we would sneak up on them with our invisibility. Sometimes if we wanted to troll them, we would all sit into one bush away from them, and if they couldn't find us in a certain amount of time, they just go crazy and start shooting everywhere because they think we were invisible. Although it was a rough start trying to find each other, it was definitely worth it in the end. With that being said, balance changes were just released and Leon is getting a little nerf. He's going to lose 2 seconds on his invisibility time, so instead of 10 seconds of being invisible, he's only going to have 8 seconds, and he's also going to have an 8% damage reduction. In my opinion, I think that 8 seconds is enough invisibility time as long as you have Leon's star power. I think if you don't have a star power, it might be difficult to maneuver around the map quickly within your invisibility timer. Now, out of all the balance changes, I think this is going to be the most interesting one. A lot of brawlers got buffs to their star powers, as well as Mortis got a little rework, and Frank. When Mortis kills someone now, he gets 1800 health immediately put to him, and that means that there's no more skulls on the ground. Frank is going to be the same thing, as where there's no more skulls on the ground for him, Instead, as soon as he kills someone, he gets a 40% damage increase for 10 seconds. And it repeats for every kill he gets. I think the barley balance changes is going to change the way that he's played. With a 50% increase to his star power, that means that he heals 300 HP per bottle he throws. He also has a 6.7% damage increase, as well as his bottles that he throws from his super are going to cover a greater area for better area of denial. If you put your super directly on a safe though, it won't do as much damage as it did before. In fact, it does a significantly less amount of damage. This makes Barley a little bit different, and I think he will be seen more in Gem Grab. Now the game mode Brawl Ball is getting a little bit of a change. They decided to move the goals back towards the wall so that you can no longer hide the ball behind the goal, and it was very annoying because it was super hard to get the ball back from behind the goal. Another thing that they're changing is whenever you kick the ball, it uses 1 ammo bar. This is crucial because now Mortis might not be a viable ball carrier because of how much ammo it uses. My prediction is that we're going to see more of a Daryl ball carrier instead of Mortis. And finally, they're making bounty games 30 seconds less, so now it's 2 minutes instead of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I think that this is a really good balance change because bounty to me felt really dragged out and not as enjoyable because of how long it took to play one game. Hopping right back into the gameplay, I ended up dying to this Brock super here, which is unfortunate, so I had to make my way back up to try regain position. After getting back up top, we had a decent lead, so I decided to super and go in to try get revenge on that Brock. As I go in though, he shoots at me and I shoot at him, but he ends up taking me out first before I took him out. This is really good because I only lose 2 stars, and now Brock loses 3 stars instead of 2. So if you get into a situation where you kill each other, you always want to die first because you'll end up getting more stars than them, as long as you kill them right after you die. Now throughout the rest of the match, I decided to play a lot more passively, because all I was doing is I was running out and dying, and I was feeding them stars. The only time I really wanted to be aggressive is if I had my super and I was able to sneak up behind one of them and get the guaranteed kill. As you can see here, I'm really close to my super, and I'm just looking for opportunities to get some chip shots in to charge my super without getting hit by them. So I see that they're all pushed up in their spawns, so I decided to push up a little bit to see if I could get some shots onto them. And I do end up hitting them a couple times, and I'm 1 shot away from my super, and now I finally have my super. Now I decided to use it and go in onto the Penny. Penny's a really good brawler to go in on as Leon, because she doesn't do as much burst damage as Brock would or as Anita would. If you play smart with Leon though, it shouldn't be a problem to kill any brawler. There's about 25 seconds left in the game, and we decided to go in because we have such a big lead on them. Even if we all die, we should be able to win the game. Although Jeff and I both died here, we did end up securing the win with a decent lead, even though we both died. Hopping into our final game of Triple Leon, we're facing a Rico, a Penny, and a Leon. We actually ended up facing these guys quite a few times during our push, and they ended up having to change their comp in order to try to counter us. Usually at the beginning of a bounty game, we don't rush the middle star unless we know we could get it without getting damaged or killed. The reason for this is that we rather charge up our supers and play for the long run, instead of just trying to get this middle star and dying. If we end up getting our supers early on, we can control the match much more easily. We're having a rough start to the match by being down 2 stars. However, as long as we keep control of the map and we keep an eye on where the Leon is, we should be able to pull out a win. So we did notice that Leon went invisible, so that's why we're shooting in random places, and Jeff ended up hitting him a few times, taking him out of his invisibility. So now we know that he doesn't have invisibility anymore, and now Jeff and I decided to go in with our invisibility, and we ended up pinching a Penny. We thought that more brawlers were hiding there. Ideally, you want to get at least 2 brawlers in there, and if possible, all 3 of them, to get the most value out of the 2 supers you used. Although we only killed the Penny with our 2 supers we used, we tied the game up 4-4, and now we're just looking for an opportunity to pick off a brawler. EasyA sees the enemy brawler, and he ends up taking him out, bringing us to a lead of 6-4. Now that we have a small lead, I want to try charge my super, so I push up to try kill the Penny, but the Leon pops out of nowhere. Luckily, Jeff was able to save me, and we were able to maintain our lead, and EasyA was able to pick off another brawler. We're in a great spot right now because we're able to pick off each brawler one by one. I bet they started to panic because there was less than a minute left and we had a good lead on them. You never want to single yourself out though, because then you'll be an easy target for your opponent to kill you. We ended up securing a good lead and winning in the end. I want to thank you guys all so much for the support on the channel recently. We're almost at 200 subscribers, and when we hit 200 subscribers, I'm thinking of doing a little giveaway. Make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on so you'll be notified when I post my next video. The Brawl Stars update is just around the corner, and there's going to be at least one new brawler, and as soon as it releases, I'm going to be making a video on it, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I want to thank EasyA and Jeff for helping me make this video, and make sure you go check out part 1 on Jeff's channel, link in the description. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you turn on those notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
What I was saying could be us.